Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Coffee grind live back at you again. Like it's been a year, and finally back at it. Coffee grind live. Let's see if we got anybody on here. I know it's been a while. Probably not anybody yet, but we're going to get it going here. We are a little bit behind. All righty. Let's see if we're working. Oh, we're working good on the IG. It looks like IG's going rocking and rolling. This is a first time using StreamYard Live's new feature on IG. So that looks like it's working. Let me just triple check over here. Oh, I'm supposedly going live. Oh, I gotta hit go live. We gonna get it. We gonna get it sooner or later. Okay, so now we're going live on the IG. We've got it live on YouTube. I see YouTube over here. So we are live across the board. So it looks like we're good to go, but we're just gonna double check here. Okay, we are good to go. We're on all the platforms, all of the things. So hello, if anybody's watching. Like I said before, it has been a while since I have done a coffee grind, and truth be told, this was going to be my last coffee grind. And I was going to kind of give everybody an update about the things that was going on with me. I was going to shut coffee grind down, and just kind of just have that a last chat, because the chat was going to be about burnout, which we're still going to talk about. We're still going to have some info, and we're going to have a chat about burnout. But I decided, nah, I like helping people. I like talking with people. I like having those conversations with people. Um, and hopefully people will be able to gain something from chats and conversations that I have with other people, or even just chats I might be having by myself. So or the chats I might, just have as a podcast by myself. So I figured, hey, let's keep the party going. Let's keep it going. And so we are going to be still having some more coffee grinds. We'll have a special guest actually coming on Wednesday. So we weren't going to spoil the surprise there. But let me sip my coffee. Today's coffee is brought to you by Keurig here at the house. It's good. So yeah, today was going to be the last coffee grind, and I went ahead and decided, yeah, no, that's probably um that's something that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue it on. If y'all are on, say hello. I see a couple of people that might be watching on YouTube. A couple of people might be watching on IG, since the IG Live is actually working properly now. So if you're on, say hello, and let's get it going. So today was going to be the last one. I had been putting this off for forever. I was going to do it back in October, then in November, then in December, and it didn't it never happened. So I told all my friends, like, hey, I'm shut down coffee grind. It is something that it was good while it lasted, but it is time. I might be peaking. Let me turn it down a little bit. So when I went to go shut it down, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she's actually getting into the coaching, as I was thinking about getting out and just posting videos and just kind of doing things like that. And we were just kind of chatting, and I was like, you know what? There's people like her that has new like projects going, and that have struggled to get those projects going, or get those projects. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into those projects. So it might not be a big platform, but why not? Why don't we go ahead and just keep the platform going, and let's go ahead and let's give people the opportunity to talk about their challenges, and talk about the grind that got them to where they're going. So I said, yeah, let's go ahead and keep it going. So but today's podcast I thought was a very important one to chat about. I think I'm still peaking here. Sorry, y'all. It's been a while. Burnout. So, one of the things for me that I noticed, and one of the things that was actually going to take me kind of away from this podcast and just redoing everything kind of in business wise is burnout. And I think it's something that people are beginning to talk about a little bit more, but it's not a conversation that is being had as much as it needs to be. I believe, because and kind of just to tell a little. I'm going to go in and out of my story, but kind of what set all this up. And the reason why I'm naming this project is, this one is, what did I name this one? I quit my job. It was something that Gemini put. Gemini AI helped me to come up with a catchy title name. So, but I did. I quit my job, and it was something that I quit my job because of burnout. And what happened was I was talking to somebody, kind of explaining to them some of the. It literally it was something I've been thinking about for a while, and I'll kind of go back into that story a little bit, but picture it, Sicily. No, I'm just kidding. But picture it, like I'm sitting here, I'm talking to somebody on the phone about one of the situations. Hey, my man, how are you? Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Um, but I was talking with one of I believe it's one of my colleagues about everything that was going on kind of during the day, all the trials and tribulations of of the gig and the job that I have. And like I notice, I'm doing one of these numbers, I'm doing one of these numbers, I'm doing one of these numbers. I'm scratching like a crackhead, and so it had skin issues in the past, but normally those come and go. But I've noticed that the times, Happy Easter to you too. I noticed that the times that those have come will be more along the lines of when stress happens. That's when the skin flare ups will start to happen and that type of stuff. So, chat with him, and I'm saying, oh man, I'm noticing. I'm like, yeah, this is like the more I was talking about some of the challenges I was facing that day, the more that I realized that, and I'm just scratching now, even think about it. The more I realized that, that my skin was itching and that type of stuff, and that was a red sign, a red flag to me. I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is why I need to quit the job. I've got to go. I got to move on to something else. This is not for me anymore. And funny enough, um, not ha ha funny, but funny. So I noticed that I was having problems. I was having like pain back of my back of my back, top of my back, kind of near the neck area. And once I put my notice in, I gave him like a month. Once I put my notice in, that pain went away. So literally, the stress was manifesting itself in just physical form. And and there's other things that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But let me go to my notes because I actually got notes. So let me go to my notes. So that's a little bit of my story. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. But let's define what burnout is. So burnout is a state of chronic physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged and excessive stress. And it's like your internal battery has run dry. It's basically and when I realized that suffering from burnout, I started doing more and more research on it, and essentially it is akin to hey daddy, mom and dad here, how you doing? Happy Easter. So it is very much akin to depression. So burnout and depression are basically like cousins, and if you look at some studies, they are saying that they're not so certain that burnout isn't a form of depression, but they are very much akin to each other. So and what happens there is with burnout. Still feel like I'm peaking. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay. So with burnout, and one of the other definitions I saw is that with burnout, it is an it is stress over time, but seeing no basic goal or outcome for that stress. So that's basically how the burnout is. So and it also, it's important to understand that burnout isn't just feeling tired. It's not just after, a long day or a couple of long days. It's a deep sense of depletion. Sometimes you have cynicism about, work life or life in general, and feel like you can't keep up anymore. You're that person that's running on that perpetual hamster wheel, and you just keep going, and you never seem to catch up because it's, life keeps throwing stuff at you, just keeps throwing stuff at you. And so you feel like that is something that you can't keep up on. One of the things that when I started researching about burnout, one of the things that I did see is that it's not just about jobs. A lot of people think it's about jobs. It's not just about jobs. You can actually have burnout from being a parent. You have burnout from being a student. So there's burnout that can happen across the board, not just when you're having when you're doing a job, which is what most people think about. But let's see. Let's go to my notes. So, common causes of burnout. Burnout can happen in all kinds of jobs and lifestyles, but some of the common causes are an overwhelmed workload, lack of control, or feeling like you have lack of control. Really, we don't have control over anything. We just have sense of feeling like we have control sometimes. Um, Feeling undervalued, having a toxic work environment, and even blurring boundaries between your work and your personal life. So those are some of the causes that can happen with burnout. We know about stress that develops in your neck and back. Yep. So yep, stress definitely. Those are some of the areas where they can definitely develop at first, and to the point when say you got a pain in the neck. That's one of those one of those idioms that's come from that. So um yeah, it is something that that there are just those are some of the causes. It's basically you're overloaded for an extreme amount of time, and some people think that it causes, or it is a signal of weakness, um that you might just be lazy, or that only overachievers get it. But that's not true. Burnout can happen to anyone, under any circumstances, that's been in any pressure for too long without having that pressure feel like it's going to be released. So, like I said, I started, and what really started with me to kind of take me down that rabbit hole, kind of looking in to see about burnout is, and like I said, burnout is akin to depression. So and it mirrors it, and it actually, there's a lot of symptoms that happen that are very similar to that. And for me, it was just doing too much, having multiple jobs and businesses running, and just working 7 days a week. And I noticed it, started really noticing it when the weight started jumping up. That's one of the things. I'm gonna talk about symptoms here in a little bit, but one of the things is that biggest weight I've been in my life, as well as just not having time, just the constant, like, everything on my mind was work. Outside of picking up my daughter, make sure that she was good for school. Everything else on my mind was work for the most part, and so work took you know you wake up to work and go to sleep thinking about work, or wake up to having to deal with work, or go to sleep thinking about work, or having every message, that literally every text message that you get is somebody needing something, or somebody actually needing you to figure out something or fix something. Every message that you get, that gets exhausting. And so I realized that, and I realized that having that, working 7 days a week forever, was not going to be, it's not sustainable, obviously. So one of the gigs that I was doing, I in November, yeah, in November, I fulfilled out the time that I said I was going to be there. I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead, and that was the weekend gig. I said I'm going to go ahead, and I know this is going on and continuing on. It was a contracted thing, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not going to work out for me. So I went ahead and got rid of that. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and be good to go, recovering from burnout. But here's the thing: lots of study has shown, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, you just go, but you're not worried about it once you start, because that's one of the things you want to start looking at. What can I subtract from my life? What can I move away from that is causing, some of this overload? So you start pulling some of that stuff out. And you think once you start pulling some of that stuff out, you maybe give yourself a weekend off or whatever, or give yourself some time off, and then you're good to go. It's done. That's not the case. Um, some people reported that burnout has taken them 6 months to get over. Some people a year and a half, 2 years to get over, because you're not going to be able to just recorrect like that. It's the same thing with weight loss, right? If it took you 10, 15 years to get the weight on, and I think social media doesn't help with this, but we see it and we think, okay, yeah, it's only going to take, a few weeks and I'll be able to knock all this off. And especially shows like The Biggest Loser didn't help when we saw stuff like that. But as long as it take you to go ahead and get to that situation, sometimes it could take you just as long, as not longer, to kind of correct and course correct that situation. So let me go back to my notes, 'cause I'm going off the fly a little too much. So warning signs. Yeah, these are some good ones. Some red flags to look out for. Constant fatigue, headaches, stomach problems, changes in sleep, trouble concentrating, some brain fog, feeling negative or cynical, irritability, feeling numb or detached, increased anxiety. So sometimes let's see, sometimes it can hurt your stomach and send you to the restroom. Yep, absolutely. So sometimes what will happen is, well, a couple different things. So let's take a step back. So I know for me, sleep cycles will get jacked up. And the reason why, and you can see this, people talking about this on social media, but a lot of times the reason why sleep cycles will get messed up is because you're working so much during the day and you're doing so much during the day that when it's finally quiet time, at about, whatever that might be for you, 11, 12 o'clock, you've gotten, kind of the kids settled, you've gotten kind of work kind of settled, and you're kind of done with work. And once you've gotten all that done, then you need time for yourself, because you don't have time for yourself. And that's kind of the biggest thing with burnout. You don't have time for yourself. So you might, scroll on your phone, play, games on your phone, or whatever it might be, but you've worked so much, and then comes 11, 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, you are just taking time for yourself. So you'll be, on your phone, or watching, a show, or or playing a game, or what have you, and you'll be doing that for 2 or 3 hours. The next thing you know, it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and you haven't gone to sleep yet, because that's the only time that you have for yourself. So that's one of the things that can cause that can happen from burnout. Is it's kind of a thing of extending out the day. You're trying to extend out the day to get time for yourself, because you don't want to. Because as soon as you go to sleep, you're gonna go back. Have to wake up and immediately get back into the grind again. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Um, no, to go back to my story. So when I went ahead and I removed myself from that one position and that one gig that I was doing on the weekends, the original, the other, I guess you say, 9 to 5 I had, it just took up the other space. So it basically just added more to the workload, so it equaled out to be about the same. So it's right back to basically the 70, 80 hours of working a week. So, well, I say it's probably, yeah, it's probably like 60 to 70. So close to the same. So one of the things that you want to do is to take action. Recognize early when the burnout happens, and when it does, talk to a trusted friend or family member. Prioritize rest, good food, exercise, all those basics things. Um, One of the things, all the basic things that you want to do. But one of the things when I was doing research, to kind of pull myself out of it, is just kind of taking stock of, okay, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can't do? What is it that I can like remove myself from? And removing yourself from that. And like I said, that is what I did. However, the other things in life kind of started taking a little more hold. And so that was at that time that I realized, hey, it is probably this gig that I have now isn't going to do it. And ultimately, none of these are my main purpose here in life. There's other things that I want to do. There's I've got some creative projects that I'm working on. I need to do that I need to come and bring into fruition into this life. And there is social media content, just content creation that I want to do and be able to kind of get the word of positive vibration, spirituality out into the world, and self help, and elevating your elevating yourself in general. So I know that when I started looking at it, it was like, okay, either it's going to push that stuff to the side, or I'm going to have to find something where I'm going to have time to be able to focus into that as well as do this other stuff. Because if I can, work even just 50 hours a week, that still gives me the time to be able to focus on the creative aspects of the business that I want to do. So I say all that to say that's when you kind of gotta and luckily I was able to kind of adjust and look at it, but it was I don't think for me it was soon enough because I was doing two jobs for um almost and I still have the business, but doing two jobs for almost 2 years, and then the business that I've had and doing just little side projects here and there. Been doing that for uh only I would say over 7 years. So over that time of working and doing that much stuff, it just wears on you. So again, some of the things that you do to take action is, just recognizing sooner than later that burnout is happening. And then, talking to, family members. If you can get time away, talk to a therapist, rest, um, gentle, exercise, like I said, delegate. Now here's you want to talk to this. So one of the things, if you see my content any amount of time, or anybody that knows me personally, one of the things that I will definitely say is that I am a bit of a people pleaser. So that is one of the things that want to make sure everybody's good, want to make sure that everybody's taking care of everybody's, what have you. But people pleasing to the detriment of yourself is not good at all. Obviously, it is not a way to run. It'll run you into the ground, should I say. And so let me make sure we're still good on the IG over here. Good. Right, cool. So, so one of the things that they actually put as when I was looking at some of the resources and some of the things they tell you to do, setting boundaries, saying no to protect your time. No is one of those things that people pleasing in general have a problem with doing. I would say they have a problem with that no word because they feel like they're going to let others down, and it becomes, which should be something we talk about in a whole nother podcast, but it becomes a part of your self identity that you're one that takes care of everybody else, so you're making sure that everybody else is taken care of. So to the point where you don't want to say no because you're going to let other people down. You think even in your mind you just think you're going to let the other people down, and that is your not the way that most people think, but that is your ego, because that is the way that you see yourself personified. And then the shadow part of you, which I love talking about shadow work and ego, is the one that would be like no. And no is okay. No is something that is okay to say. No is a complete statement. Just like thank you is a complete statement. You don't have to elaborate. But it's something that I think a lot of people run into by not protecting their time. um and they've also suggested if it gets really, really bad, obviously, burnout is bad, but you work with a therapist so they can give you some coping strategies. Obviously, anytime work with a therapist, but if it gets really bad, a lot of times I don't think they do it so much in the United States, but what are some of the things I'm looking at is over, in European countries, they will actually give you time for burnout recovery. So your therapist just writes you a note, hand that into your job, and they will give you time for burnout recovery, and sometimes even pay for it, which is a good thing in my opinion, because a lot of times it's the jobs that's making that happen to begin with. So um let's see, what else do we have here in the notes. Yeah, and the other thing that they talked about, and I've already talked on, is the other things I've researched and the things I've seen throughout. Because I tell you, once it was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely probably a burnout thing. I started looking at video after video after video after video after video after video on burnout, and yeah, and we already talked about this, but just reevaluating your priorities, seeing if there's other things that you can find. Um, with your job, or with different type of job, or pulling some of your responsibilities back if you got too many responsibilities. One of the I'll tell you, one of the other reasons why I knew, I was like, yeah, this is a problem, because for a little bit down now in September I did get COVID, so that kind of took me out a little bit. But gym wasn't I wasn't going to the gym as frequently, number one. And number two was not meditating on a regular basis. Anybody that knows me knows that for the most part, I like to meditate at least once a day. Sometimes, a lot of times I really feel good when I meditate twice a day, but I really try to get a meditation in daily, especially before I do any work at all. Meditation is one of those things that I do. Normally, it's I wake up with a thank you, to say that to myself or out loud. Gym meditation, or meditation gym, depending on the day, but mostly it's gym meditation. Um, so that was something that just wasn't happening, and that was one of those things that really let me know, okay, yep, this is a situation, something that needs to be addressed. So um see if there's anything else. Let me go to my notes again and see what else. Again, yeah, that's one good thing that we probably want to bring out and talk about. Um Again, burnout. If you're going through burnout, research, go on YouTube. There's lots of videos on YouTube, some better than others, but lots of videos on YouTube to help you recover from that, help you with, ideas to help recover from that. Know that it is not an overnight thing. Burnout did not happen overnight, so it's not anything that you go and pull yourself back from overnight. And websites, books, all types of resources out there. A lot of jobs. If you do get any type of um benefits, there we go. It's been so long since I really had a job with benefits, that whole concept just besides the one that I just quit. That whole concept just kind of was foreign to me. But if you have any benefits that can help, just seeing a therapist, or actually just talking to a doctor about it, that's something that's it's good as well. But a lot of these companies will have a lot of mindfulness practices that they offer for free, and a lot of things that they just offer for free through your job. So that's that's other resources that you have as well. um let's see, well, let me go to my notes, make sure that's it. I think for the most part, that is it. Just making sure that you recognize it as early as you can, as soon as you can. Make sure that as soon as you recognize it, tackling it. You're making adjustments in your life to kind of get rid of whatever is overloading you, whatever is causing you that stress, whatever is causing you to feel that burnout. And you know what? One thing I will say, let's see, what am I saying? You need to take care of yourself, love yourself, take care of you. We love you, love you too, mom. So one of the things that I will say is that this is it's we're all living our own journey, right? We're all living our own life. We're just kind of, painting our own picture as we go, and living our own life as best as possible. So this is something that you're going to have to know down on yourself. Like you could talk to, like, talk to friends, family, talk to everybody that I could, um, about, the work situation or what have you. And, some of the other things I'm feeling. But when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, it is your life and your gig. And you got to know that if you're feeling it down in here and you're feeling something is off and you're feeling that I think people know when they're feeling that stress, but at the same time, let me just say, let me go back to some of when we talk about some of the symptoms. Some things that might be happening is, you know, troubles getting out of bed, and it's not a depression thing of getting out of bed. It's a situation of you're just exhausted. You're just physically exhausted, and you just know you're gonna have to go right back into the grind of the work. So that's why it mirrors depression, but it's different. Because it's not like it's coming from a point of sadness. This is coming from a point of exhaustion and your battery being at zero or sometimes even negative, and you're trying to recover at any chance that you can get. Um, so when you getting those type of indicators and you're feeling those type of things, you got to know that, hey, it's time, and moving away, or putting some things away, moving some things out of your life, should I say, moving some situations and moving some stressors away from you is okay. And it's something that, but ultimately it's something that you got to make the decision on your own for. You don't need permission from anybody to do it, because it is your life. Of course, if you have, a little one or significant others, is something that you probably want to talk to them about if it's something that's going to impact them. But ultimately, you don't need permission to do any of this stuff. You got to do what's best for you in your life. You got to, as Mom says right there, you got to make sure you take care of yourself and love yourself enough to make sure that you are um, doing what needs to be done to make sure that you keep your sanity. So that is it. I'm gonna check in here on Instagram. Think we're still going. Everybody is still on there. We got people popping in and out. I appreciate y'all being over there and popping in and seeing me. We got a couple of folks that are on the YouTube that are in there. Mom and dad on there. I think they might have bounced out. But yeah. That's my burnout journey. That's my story of quitting. And maybe we'll even talk about, maybe at a different time, talk about me quitting the gig with nothing lined up, just because I knew it was the thing to do, because mentally I would not be able to process or take it anymore. So quitting with nothing but faith is something that is interesting, yet it is something that needs to be handled delicately, depending on who you are. But for me, it's kind of my modus operandi. So that is basically everything that I wanted to chat about today. So this is not the end of Coffee Grind. I actually have a couple of people that I actually reached out to prior to kind of getting into the too busy season. And so we're gonna try to get them on the show. Well, we have somebody coming up this week in the show that I'm excited about, and we are going to just keep it pushing. A couple of different ideas we have here, and we're going to circle back to a couple of folks that have been on the show before. So more to come with Coffee Grind Live, here on the YouTubes and on the Instagram, and maybe even TikTok, if that doesn't go away and we could figure out how to make the live work on TikTok through StreamYard. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate y'all being here. If you're seeing this on the replay, leave some comments. Let me know if you've had a burnout story before, or what your story is about. Hey, when have you ever had to quit and leave your job just because you couldn't take it anymore and there was too much stresses? And hey, maybe have a follow-up show where I talk about some of this, the stressors, or some of the the pain points that happened with me, and the final decision to, like I said, that one where I was like just scratching like crazy on the phone was the final straw for me, and I was like, I'm done. So but yeah, let me know. We'll talk about some of those things, and maybe in a different episode. If y'all want to, leave those comments down in the comment section here on YouTube, and maybe Maybe we'll have a chat about that. We'll have kind of an open mic section, and maybe even bring some people in on this from time to time. But either way, know that Coffee Grind is alive and well, and we're going to keep it going, keep it pushing. So I appreciate you all being here. Those that joined me, those that were here for me, the return, season 4, episode 0, because this is just a reset. Really, it's not the first episode, but appreciate it. And let's see. We're gonna do it like that. There we go. Getting back into the groove of things. There we go. So we have a episode coming out on Wednesday. So be prepared for that. We got that coming out, and I'm gonna put in the comment section where you can sign up if you got a story that you want to tell. Make sure that you get on this show, because everybody got a story to tell, and I believe that is something that everybody should tell. So either way, I love you. Namaste.